What's up, everyone? I hope you're all having a fantastic day. To get us started in today's video, we've got a tweet that was shared by 801 XRP. What is inevitable? Boom will follow bust, and bust will follow boom. Hold on to your convictions. Know what your core offering is. Invest strategically. Watch the bottom line, and you will come out better, history says, than those who don't. The most important thing to note about XRP is that its future price depends a lot on whether a U.S. court sides with the SEC over claims that it represents an unregistered security. The court case has been an issue for a long time, a little over 2 years now, and it has ultimately kept the price of Ripple down as potential investors opt for something where there's less of a possibility of imposed failure. Put simply, if Ripple wins the case, then we can expect the price to go up, although we do not know by how much.
Uncertainty is the other lesson I want to draw. The end of the 1990s resulted in the dot-com boom and then bust. The companies that did best were the companies that kept a close eye on the bottom line and invested strategically, because if you can do well in a downturn, you'll do really well in an upturn. And yet the tendency in a recession is just to cut back. And that actually is not the recipe for enduring a period of downturn. You need to look at these trends and invest and try to grow well, because what is inevitable is boom will follow bust and bust will follow boom. And then finally, as I say, in the long term, could we be facing another golden age for the longer term? So thank you. It literally says my time is up. I'm waiting for the buzzer. So I'm going to wrap up and say, I hope I've given you a sense that the short, medium, and the longer term holds massive amounts of opportunities, but hold on to your convictions, know what your core offering is, invest strategically, watch the bottom line, and you will come out better, history says, than others who don't. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
As always, welcome back to Moneyside, your favorite crypto news channel. If you're new here, welcome to the XRP Army. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you don't miss out on our daily crypto news updates. According to a tweet shared by Elbury, by far the best chance for cryptocurrency in the United States is Ripple. There are other crypto players in the US that could be playing offense, but aren't. This means it's basically all on XRP to save us all. In more interesting news today, we got another update from Squawk Box. Crypto is the most important technology that can help update the financial system, says Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong. The rest of the world is trying to draw crypto companies in. The U.S. really risks falling behind.
I think new legislation is needed, and the reason is that if you look at Americans, 80% of them feel like the current financial system doesn't work for them. You know, the fees are too high, the delays are there, it doesn't serve everybody equally. And so, and it's not surprising, by the way, you know, the current financial system is built on 40-year-old technology. Some of the laws have been around for 100 years before the internet even existed. And so, you know, my belief is that cryptocurrency is actually the most important technology that can help update the financial system. And what's really cool to see is that actually the user base of crypto, you know, advocates out there, there's 1 in 5 households in the US are now using crypto. They're actually coming together and starting to get organized and saying, we want to elect candidates across 435 congressional districts that will help create this industry here in America safely.
Do you think realistically we are closer to regulation? Becky and I and Joe were talking about this earlier. And, you know, it feels like we're closer, but also feels like maybe we're just as behind as we were 5 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I've been spending more and more time in DC, and what's great to see is that there is strong bipartisan support for legislation. I think everybody saw what happened with FTX, and they said, okay, we need to make sure there's strong consumer protection. We also recognize that there's innovation potential here, and we don't want this to be like 5G or something like that, you know, the semiconductor industry that got moved offshore too much. We need this to be built here in America with strong consumer protection. So there's at least 3 different groups I'm aware of in DC, senators that are working on different bills being drafted in various different forms. And, you know, it takes a small miracle anytime something actually becomes law, but I'm excited to see that there's people who are passionate about that, making that happen. And I think the voters in America want to see that. They're going to elect candidates coming up who are going to advocate for that.
So what do you tell the crypto critics? And I'm thinking Senator Elizabeth Warren, she has said the following. She says, we have money laundering rules that cover banks and credit unions and stockbrokers and gold dealers and even Western Union, but current rules don't cover big parts of the crypto industry, and crypto likes it that way. Is she right?
No, that's just simply not true. I mean, Coinbase is a great example of this. I started this company more than 10 years ago now, and I started it in the United States for a reason. I believed that this needed to be built here in a compliant and regulated way. So we've actually been regulated for about 10 years now. I mean, we initially sought out money transmission licenses here in the US because that was the closest thing we could find to a license that made sense. We've since gone beyond that. I mean, we got one of the first BIT licenses in New York. We're regulated by the CFTC, a federal regulator here. We're registered with FinCEN. And by the way, that's just in America. So the US risks really being left behind here a little bit. You know, the rest of the world is actually moving and trying to draw crypto companies in. You know, London and Singapore and Hong Kong and the financial hubs of the world are saying we want crypto to be built here. Europe just passed comprehensive crypto legislation. And so the US really risks falling behind.
In another update by the digital asset investor, we can see that the engineered Hinman Ethereum free pass was based on nothing in the law. It was a group of SEC private industry people getting together to BS their way out from under securities laws to pad their pockets, and they all know it. Indeed, it's very arguable that by working with law firms involved in Ethereum and then by joining Ethereum invested funds as advisors, Clayton and Hinman benefited themselves by giving Ethereum a free pass and also by damaging a rival. There's a very apparent conflict of interest here, and one which undermines the SEC's case against Ripple. Even if Clayton and Hinman weren't intentionally or consciously conniving to help Ethereum and undermine Ripple, it's just not sound policy to have regulators gainfully employed in sectors and by organizations they're supposed to be regulating. Has the SEC and U.S. federal government not heard of confirmation bias?
Why can't something initially be a security, then morph into non-security, according to case law?
Sure. Well, it is a completely anomalous concept for the law as it works today. There's just simply no such thing as a asset that was a security and then stops being a security based on events that are extrinsic to that asset. So it just does not exist. It's a completely made up idea. Not to say that people shouldn't be making up new ideas, only to say that there's no basis. And to the best of my knowledge, the SEC has not cited any case law precedent for saying, well, we see in this case X, something wasn't a security or was a security, and then it stopped being a security. So the first and foremost point is that it's a new theory, and it's fine to bring up new theories. Nothing against that, but it's just that it's difficult to charge people with violations of the law based on something that has no support currently in the law. So that's
win a case, and then that could be precedent, right?
Absolutely, yes. Separately in the paper, we argue it would be a bad idea. So yes, but we completely recognize and support that there's nothing wrong with the SEC bringing up new ideas and new solutions.
More updates from Tom Emmer. We can see that the Biden administration wants to create a surveillance-style digital dollar that is not open, permissionless, and private. That's why I introduced legislation to prevent unelected bureaucrats from stripping Americans of their right to financial privacy. Under the law, agencies enforce the Financial Privacy Rule, which governs how financial institutions can collect and disclose customers' personal financial information. The Safeguards Rule, which requires all financial institutions to maintain safeguards to protect customer information, and another provision designed to prevent individuals and companies from gaining access to consumers' personal financial information under false pretenses, a practice known as pretexting.
The Biden administration is currently itching to create a digital authoritarian-styled surveillance-style digital dollar. And through an executive order, they are pursuing analysis on a retail CBDC that would not be open, permissionless, or private. In fact, it would be ridden with significant risk to Americans' privacy, security, financial inclusion, and a whole lot more. This kind of digital currency would give the federal government access to and control over literally every financial transaction conducted by Americans. That's why I, along with a number of my colleagues, introduced the CBDC Anti-Surveillance State Act.
As always, do your own research and always trade safely, guys. Please keep in mind we're not a licensed financial advisor. All videos on this channel are intended for entertainment purposes only. Let us know what you think in the comments section below, and let's have a conversation. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, and please click on that subscribe button below and turn on notifications so you get informed whenever we post our amazing content. Thanks again, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next Money Side.